Hey guys, this is Ted with OAXRAY, and today we're going to be talking about virtual assistants, how to find them, how to use them. So this is going to be a little lengthy video, but it should go in depth in all the different processes you want to use. So here we are on OAXRAY, and you can allow a virtual assistant to use OAXRAY. If you have any more than one or two, that would be the time to let us know. We don't want to think that there's multiple users using your account and sending you a message and going through all that. So if you have more than one or two, just let us know so we don't flag your account. But if you have one, two, go ahead, give them your key, and you guys can use the same key and you'll have the same login. If you happen to let one go, a virtual assistant go, then just let us know and we'll get you a new key so that you can continue OAXRAY use and you don't have to worry about anyone else using it at the same time, messing with your buy list, seeing your items, things like that. So let's talk about how we can find a virtual assistant. So we like to use Upwork, which is the first thing that pops up generally when you do a search for a virtual assistant. But there's a whole bunch of different companies, and let me explain to you two different types. Upwork is essentially a company that allows you to have virtual assistants, and you get the entire spectrum of quality. You get the entire spectrum of know-how. So on Upwork, you will find virtual assistants who barely speak English and have not much skill, but you'll also get some of the best virtual assistants that have a high skill level. If you go to a place like Brickwork, or you go to a place like let's see, there used to be one, My Man in India. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm not sure. It's not popping up here. But if you go to a place like Brickwork, it's more of a high-end business services. So whenever you come here, they're going to ask you how many hours you're using, and the virtual assistants generally are more expensive. But the benefit of buying someone on Brickwork over buying someone on Upwork is these people have already been vetted. Often they're working in like a call center environment. They have a security system set up so that people can't download information. And there's just all these safeguards set up for Brickwork and stuff and these type of companies, but they're much more expensive. If you go to Upwork, you're really not sure what the people may be using. Some of these people might be working from their homes. Some people might be working in call centers, because they do actually have call centers and things like that. So you're going to have to kind of make your decision. If you are low on capital and you're willing to put the time in, Upwork is a great place just because you're able to find people who are working for themselves. You don't have the additional fees of people working in these call center environments, and it's just cheaper per hour. So make your own decision on that one. Now, once you're able to hire somebody and you're able to get them set up with a task of sourcing for you, what I like to do is go to Google Docs and just create a simple spreadsheet. So, and you can name the spreadsheet whatever the person's name is. So in this example, I'm going to use Virtual Assistant 1. So whenever the virtual assistant goes to a page like this on Target, make sure first that you tell them to maximize the page size. Really, depending on the skill level, it's going to depend on how in-depth you want your virtual assistant to go. Here, we're going to show you a very low-skilled virtual assistant, what they can do for you and how they can kind of maximize things for you. So first thing you're going to have them do is download the OAXRAY extension and input the key code that's yours. I would also have them download an application called Force Background Tab. This can be found in the Chrome Web Store. It's pretty easy to use. You just put it up here, and essentially it forces everything to pop up in the background. And let me show you how that works using OAXRAY. I'm simply going to go over here to the OAXRAY tab and click it. And as we can see, instead of popping up and forcing me to see the OAXRAY tab, it just pops up in the background. So this allows a virtual assistant to simply move over and just quickly go to page 2. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that virtual assistants have many different internet speeds based on where they're located. So that might be a question you want to ask the virtual assistant. And another thing is I never hire a virtual assistant without giving them like a practice task first. So if you wanted to hire a virtual assistant, you might give them a spreadsheet on Amazon and say, hey, match these, let's say right here, these 5 items to the corresponding Amazon listing. And quickly, if they can't match these 5 items to the corresponding listing, then they're probably not going to be very good at making matches using OAXRAY and other tools that you may have. So it's very important that you send them a small task and maybe pay I don't know, 50 cents for the small task. I don't know what the per hourly rate is or hourly rate. Have them do a small task and kind of get the feel for how quickly and how good they are at making matches to Amazon, because not everybody is going to be at the same skill level. Then you build from there and you give them larger tasks and larger tasks. And a cool thing about OAXRAY is whenever this is done loading, you're going to see a little green pop up there. And we're going to wait about 15 seconds for this to load, and I'm going to hop back onto this video. So I waited a few seconds, and now that I see that the check mark is here, that means the page is ready. What I would have a virtual assistant do now is just click on positive ROI. And if you have a rank in a ROI threshold, here it's 100,000 and 50, you can quickly click on My Buys. Now the person's able to hover over the target listing and see the picture. This should be the minimum that they do. So before they send this to a spreadsheet to you, at very minimum, if you have a low skilled and they're not able to do all the tests, I would have them at least look at the picture and make sure they are the same. Now, as you get further into this and you get a little better with working with your virtual assistant, I'd have them actually look at target, make sure the item is in stock. Any virtual assistant should be able to do this. Now, from here, we see that the item is not in stock, which is actually a good thing, and it's kind of something that I use all the time. So whenever Amazon's not in, Target or Target source is not in stock, I click on Find in another location. And you can have your virtual assistant do all of this work for you. So I would have them search, and I can see this item is available at Chesapeake Square Mall, which is a few minutes away from my house. And we can see it's available in Williamsburg. I don't go up there too often, maybe once a week. And we can see it's available at those 2 stores. So what I would do is I would add this to my buy list. And I would essentially just close these pages. Now from here I go to my main tab and I can just click on My Buys. Once you insert a rank and a ROI threshold, they stay, they stick. So we can just move over to the next page, and you can just have your virtual assistant look at the images and make sure everything matches, and simply go over and add the items to the buy list. And we'll do it again here. I'm not sure if there's anything. Go to My Buys. There's nothing on this page, so we'll just delete. Click on My Buys again. Check the images, make sure they match. Looks like they do. Click, click. And we're just going to do this for the next 8 pages. It's going to be pretty quick. As you can see, OAXRAY, this is 800 or so listings, and we've been able to go through them in just a few minutes. Let's see. Looks like everything matches. Now your virtual assistant is going to go through these, make sure they're in stock and do all these things, but I just realized that they might as well do this all at the end before they export these. Let's see, Target. Pretty good results. Everything looks like it matches, so we're just going to add this to the buy list. So next step is to check our buy list. So your virtual assistant can essentially just keep adding items to the buy list till the end of their shift. And at the end, let's say I would have them take the last hour to actually go through and vet everything. So here we have about 20 items on our buy list. They've already at least checked the images. Now it's time to check stock levels and make you kind of a really good spreadsheet on how you're going to source from this point. So I would just do a simple export to CSV file, or I would have the virtual assistant do this. Then I'm going to scroll over to my virtual assistant tab that they have, and from here I would import, upload, and I'm just going to drag this over. Let me see if you guys can see this. Table 6, drag it over, and replace current spreadsheet. You can also append to the end of a spreadsheet. So for here, I'm going to add more than one tab, and I'm going to, so here we have this tab is table 6. I'm going to rename this as today's date. And today is 2nd of February. Just in case you don't check this for a few days, you want to make sure you have a different date so that you can go through everything and keep track of the virtual assistant. So everything is going to remain in the same order. So I'm going to add a couple columns, and this is going to be in available online, and here will be pickup location. You can add as many columns as you want, but I like to do everything this way, just it speeds things up a little bit. So the virtual assistant can either click through on this page. I just find the OAXRAY page a little simpler. And what I will do, okay, right here, I'm going to go to OAXRAY, check the first item, see if it's in stock. Because it's $17.99, we'll just see if the item is in stock and ready to go. So here we have an item. It's not in stock. It says find in store. We see it's in stock in Virginia Beach, so that's good. So depending on the skill level of your virtual assistant, here's what I would have them do next. Since we do have the phone number, if they're able to call the store, that would be optimal situation. If they're able to call, they can just call this number and they can say, hey, how many do you have in stock? And your virtual assistant can put, let's see, add, insert left. Okay. And number in stock. So let's pretend that we called this first one, pickup locations, Virginia Beach. They have, let's say, 11 in stock, and available online will be no. So to speed this up, let's just pretend that we found some items that are in stock. These next 3 items are in stock, so they don't have any pickup location, but you might have a few items that are out of stock, so those might be here. So I'm going to just fill this out just as like so that you can kind of see how this is going to help you. So I've done kind of a mock setup to what this is going to look like whenever we are, whenever a virtual assistant fills this out, and we're just going to pretend that that's what we're going to do. I'm going to delete a few columns just so that it's easier for us to see, and we can put it all on one page. Okay, so now we can see all of our columns, and this is how a virtual assistant really helps you. So let's pretend that your virtual assistant found 21 items today. They went through and they looked at each one. They made sure they were all correct and things like that. So here we are, and they've added available online and in stock. I can view this and I can freeze the first column, freeze row 1. And now I can sort by these. So if I want to make a route for myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort everything by the pickup location, and I'm going to say, okay, we have this many items in stock at these stores. As long as I have this on Google Docs and I have a cell phone, all these prices are going to be online. So if I go in the store and this price is really $20 or whatever it is, I can just pull out my Google Docs application, click on this item, and it's simply on the Google Docs application. It's going to show me the target screen. So now the cool thing is I can see this item on Target. I can see the price. So even if it's $12.99 in store, I could say, hey, can you price match this, because online it's $9.09. And generally they will price match it They sometimes check for stock, but generally they're not going to, at least in my area. So it's just a cool way. So when you're in store, you already know how many you can buy. You already know which stores to go to pick up the item. And what you can do is create multiple columns if you want. If you want to see which ones are in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, you can set up a whole bunch of different settings. And then you know that these items that say no pickup location, these all are items you can buy online to flip in store. You also have your sales rank here, ROI, and all the information that you need. I would actually check the items, make sure everything matches, especially if you have a new virtual assistant. You want to make sure that all the numbers are correct. You can have your virtual assistant check for things like, let's see, right here's the Amazon listing. You can actually have your virtual assistant do all the steps once they're trained up and they're good to go. So I would have my virtual assistant check for reviews. If the reviews are under, let's say, a 3-star, 2.5 or less, then at that point I'd say, hey, remove it from the list. If I come down here and I see that the item weighs 20 pounds and it's this huge item to ship, hey, remove it from the list. So you can set up a whole bunch of different small rules that are going to limit what you get every single morning. So you don't want to wake up and have 100 listings and then you have to filter through them and you find 20 are actually good. So this item right here is oversized. So maybe you don't want to sell any oversized items. So you say, hey, if an item is oversized, automatically remove it. Now, just a couple more sheets I would add. By clicking here, I'm able to add sheets. I would add a rejects list. So I can just change this to rejects. And I would add a buy list. And if I buy some of these, or if they're great buys and I'm making profit on them, what I would do is I'd just copy them and I'd put them on my buy list. It's just as simple as copying and pasting. And if I don't like something, I would copy those. Let's say I didn't like these 4, and I'm going to put them on my reject list. Now, the reject list is important because it gives you an idea of what rules you need to put in place so that these items don't keep popping up. Not these specific items, but similar items to these don't keep popping up, and then you have to keep filtering them. So find out what's the same about these. Maybe they all have, maybe the margin is too small, or whatever the problem is with these. Figure out what that is, and you want your rejects list to get smaller and smaller every day. You want your buy list to get larger and larger every day as the person speeds up and they're able to kind of sort things by your needs. I like virtual assistants that live in, well, it doesn't really matter where they are, but I like people who are awake when I'm sleeping and sleep when I'm awake. This way, let's pretend that they're able to work midnight my time to 8 a.m. my time. I want to wake up at 8 a.m. I want to see this virtual assistant 1 list, and I want to say, oh man, awesome. I have 10 items to pick up in store. In Norfolk, I have 10 items in Virginia Beach to pick up, and I have 20 online leads to pick up. And that's what I want to wake up to every morning. So I know what I'm sourcing. I know how many items are in store. And if you can find a virtual assistant who can call the store, I mean, you're even better off. If you can find a virtual assistant that's able to fully vet the item, go to the Amazon listing, make sure they match, and do everything for you, then that would be ideal. But in a perfect world, that's not going to happen, or we're not in a perfect world. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research yourself. But once you get to the point of which you have this list every morning, you're able to save yourself hours. Instead of walking into the store blind, not knowing what to scan, not knowing where to go, not knowing how to find items, you have this list every morning that you wake up to. They've already called the store. The item's already there. It's verified. We've already verified the items in stock for shipping for you. And if you also want the virtual assistant to find the best cash back deal or purchase the item, so some of these items, even though they're out of stock, let me see if I can find one. I don't know that I will be able to, but okay, so I'll just explain it to you. Some of the times you'll be able to add this item to your cart, and you can actually check out with the item, and it will be checkout for pickup. So you might tell the person, hey, if the store is within 20 miles of me, just check out and I'll do a pickup of the item. and the store is actually going to hold the item for you up front to make sure that it doesn't get sold. And my stores in my area, I think they will hold it for 3 days, so that if you're not going to pick up the item that day, you can pick up the item a few days later. So this is what you want to see whenever your virtual assistant is fully trained. A full buy list, what you want to buy, the items already vetted, telling you where to pick up the items, telling you how to buy the items in the store, and your day is as simple as going and grabbing these pickups. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and make some money using OAXRAY.